Chris Jericho off TV for the past few weeks, and indeed a lot of people speculating about whether or not Jericho is still with the company. Of course, he has been touring the Let the Madness Begin tour with his band Fozzy, has been all around Europe, and indeed just a few weeks ago here in Dublin, Ireland.
We played Dublin one time before, exactly 5 years ago to the day tonight. And I'll tell you what, it's not going to be another 5 fucking years before we come back, I'll tell you that right now.
Yep, the walls of Jericho have been broken down while Mr. Irvine takes some time off to do some rock and roller, and that is Chris Jericho. The Ayatollah of rock and roller is back to rock things up with his American rock band Fozzy, and what a night it was.
Indeed, this event was on in the Button Factory in Dublin, of course formerly the Temple Bar Music Centre, and this is a place where many of the best have played, and indeed Fozzy given that 4 or 5 star treatment, and indeed lots of support acts as well, which was the first surprise, and they were quite good as well. I mean, of course you had Black Swan in there and 1 or 2 others, and these guys did their best to warm up for the man himself, Y2J.
Save us. Chris Jericho arrives on stage in flying form and flying fashion to Queen's We Will Rock You. Stereotypical, you could say, but then again, this is Fozzy and this is American rock and roll.
Now, the crowd that we saw when we arrived at the event was also a big surprise. We wondered going up there who the hell was going to be at this thing. I mean, the event was advertised as WWE superstar Chris Jericho and Fozzy.
You guys are great! Look at all the people here tonight! So this is Ireland, is it? I heard that people in Dublin like really heavy music. Is that true? Like really heavy, dirty, filthy, stinky, nasty, sweaty, stanky, scummy, sploogey, heavy fucking metal.
It wasn't exactly an arena, but more of a factory converted into a venue, I suppose. Maybe it made buttons in its day, but not tonight. The only buttons that were left undone were the ones on Chris's shirt.
What a performance from Jericho. Now, if you've never seen the band Fozzy live, you are in for a treat, and I certainly recommend that if they're ever in your town, especially if you're in Europe now and maybe near one of those dates that they have coming up, and quite a long tour it is as well, then do go see them, because to be honest, it's the Jericho performance, it's the man you're going to see really, that is Y2J, who really puts on an impressive show. Now, the guy kind of has a different character when he's on stage and when he's with this band. Not so much the character you see in the ring, but certainly he's working all the time.
Yeah, he has to make himself busy when there are points in those songs where I suppose Chris doesn't have to really sing. So if he isn't singing and he's certainly not wrestling, then he's got to look like he's enjoying himself, and he's got to look like he can get that crowd worked up and keep the spirit of Fozzy and those Fozzy chants alive between some of their classics like Enemy, one of the big hits of the night, and Hey Hey Hey, 1 2 3, not forgetting that big powerhouse of a chorus that really just makes you want to get down and get that hair swinging if you got any.
You guys want to sing along with this next song or what? Are you sure? Alright, this one's a little bit intricate, so you gotta really pay attention. It's like a test. It's like you're in school. Here's what you have to do. When I put this hand in the air, you gotta say, good. Now here's the tricky part. When I put this hand in the air, you gotta say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2, 3.
You'll see it in the footage. Jericho is extremely enthusiastic about this band, and it shows. You know, I felt like he almost looked more enthusiastic than he has in the ring lately, and I think that's just the crowd that was there on the night. I would say probably bigger than the crowd that he might have had on previous shows. The guy should continue to do this because really he impresses as a frontman. Now maybe, you know, the music is not to everyone's taste. It's rock to metal, and yeah, it might not be your cup of tea, but I would rate it, as far as that genre goes, as being of the mid to higher end of the spectrum. I mean, maybe my opinion of the latest stuff isn't as clued in, but certainly 5-10 years ago I would have been into what is that heavier rock scene, and I would say it's pretty good overall.
Yeah, good musicians, and they know how to play and they know how to interact with the crowd, as far as probably their personal taste and their ability to write a song. Maybe not so much, but you know, they can play their instruments. People can drive cars, doesn't mean they're Formula 1 racers. But in the case of Fozzy, you know, if you can get 1 or 2, I suppose, good laps around the track, then I think everybody's going home with a Fozzy in the head and a smile on the face.
Absolutely. Now, there are several Fozzy albums. It's been years that I've been hearing about them, and I'm really kind of glad that I got this opportunity to go up. Now, of course, we debated this about whether it was worth it or not. I really came out of it thinking that it was worth it, and yeah, I really believe that he is going to do big things if he sticks with it, at least for selling out some shows. Now, you can put the WWE name on it and his gimmick Jericho name, and I can't see why it would fail to sell out anywhere, really.
It's the machine. Once the machine is behind your product, I think everything will be good.
A good show overall. That, I mean, your opinion, definitely more or less like myself. I mean, the music, you know, not my own taste, and maybe not the best of the best of the rock of today, but it just occupies that kind of mid space, doesn't it? Where, yeah, I mean, they might sound like a dozen other bands, but really the Jericho performance stands out above that music, and he could be playing anything.
Really, I suppose it's just like a fun night out for the whole family. I mean, you know, I'm sure the dad can relate to him. I'm sure the kids can relate to him, and maybe even the mothers too. So, Fozzy for life, Fozzy for family. I support Fozzy all the way.
Another aspect of this show that we could get into is the non-music side. Now, this is where it really becomes a treat for wrestling fans, and I think this is where he sort of sells the show to the people who came in for the gimmick, and indeed the Jericho that we know. Now, he does this by doing promos on the mic, and indeed we've been showing you some of those in the footage, and here's another one.
But you better have gotten that, I'll tell you what. If you didn't, you're fired. Wayne is our documentarian. That was amazing, guys. You guys are fucking great. Let me tell you, we have a new record called Chasing the Grail. Who here has Chasing the Grail? know the fucking difference? Who else chasing the grail? Every single one of you, just as I suspected. This next song is from Chasing the Grail. It's got a really long, complicated title, so I want you to say it along with me. We're going to learn, it's like school or something. The song is called Paraska Veda Catriophobia. You want to try it? Paraska Veda Catriophobia. Paraska Veda Catriophobia.
Yes, I think the show was excellent, and as I said before, I'd recommend it. I think you should go to it. Props to Chris Jericho, because I mean, this is probably not the easiest things to do. He's been on TV for a couple of years straight now, and that's 2 sets of tours he has to do.
2 tours for Chris Jericho, and no better man to handle it. He is the best at what he does, and he will save us from the depths of Ortonville and C Nation.
But Fozzy and the musicians, now I suppose our thoughts on the guys that were on there, I think overall the feeling is that those guys are very professional.
Those guys, you know, they could rock. A good show, nice and loud, guitars and drums with some American heartfelt lyrics and stories of fuck knows what.
Check out more of those Fozzy albums and perhaps pick up the Enemy MP3 on iTunes. If you're going to pick one song from Fozzy, maybe you're here on YouTube, you can search for that. Check out the video, maybe not the best, but the song is probably his best. Now, of all I heard on the night, I think that was the one, and the crowd, as you said, chanting for that one at the end. It became the finale. Of course, Jericho, as I mentioned to you, he left the stage and I could see him looking back as that house jukebox came on. He wanted to go for longer, and he probably would have done so. Of course, at one point he did mention that they hadn't been there in 5 years in Dublin, and it wasn't going to be 5 years before he was back.
Yeah, Chris Jericho definitely popular in Dublin, Ireland, and Enemy, you know, the 2 sides of it, a great song with a real powerful chorus, and really getting in on that vocal on the take there in the studio, Chris, and no need for any auto tune or any of that kind of stuff. Just a straight up heartfelt lyric. Probably done in one take. Probably not even copy and pasted. I can imagine it would have just been a one take wonder. But big difference, I think, between Enemy and Enemy for Fozzy, the song and the front cover, and I think they're very, very far apart, but only time will tell if Fozzy will be a household name for years to come.
You can check out the Fozzy footage we recorded on the night here on our channel, youtube.com/TheWrestleDope. Subscribe to WrestleDope. We talk about wrestling every week, and indeed give our opinions on the TV tapings, the pay-per-views, and indeed live on Justin.
Live on Justin TV every Sunday night, coming at you like there's no tomorrow.